Welcome to Pre-Cut Fun from Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today let's use up some leftover 5-inch charm packs. These 5-inch squares are perfect little sizes to make some rice bags. Now these little rice bags are not only good for a cold day, but they're good if we need to warm up a little spot on our body that needs some heat. A sore shoulder, a sore arm, and if we keep them in the freezer, it's reversed. They're going to be cold when we need them cold. We need 5-inch squares and some rice. For each one of those little rice bags, we're going to need 2 5-inch squares. And this is where it's great using up those leftover charm packs. We're going to put right sides out, so the wrong sides are facing in. We're going to be able to stitch around and leave an opening. We won't be turning this right side out, so we do need that good side of the fabric facing up. That opening size is going to be determined by the size of your funnel. Our funnel is what's going to get that rice in there. So we only need an opening for that size. Now when you stitch these, I would recommend using a small stitch length. If we use a big one, the rice is going to fall through and it's not going to be as strong. I would also leave the opening in between one of these seams, and that way we don't have to go around the corner when we seal them. Let me stitch around this, and I'm going to show you a secret on how to seal this up using your sewing machine. These little 5-inch squares will take approximately 1/3 cup of rice. You can go up to 1/2 cup. I'm going to put that funnel in the end and put that rice in. The rice is a little bit staticky, so a little tap will get that in. Now before we do anything, we're going to pin right along the base of that rice. Sometimes if you lay it down, the static will force that rice to come back up, and we don't want to take a chance of sewing over it. So while it's still in that upright position, I want to go close to that rice. So I'm locking that rice into the bottom. And I weave that pin in and out. So now when that lays flat, the rice is going to stay over in this area. Be sure to feel and make sure that there's no rice along this area. If you do have a piece of rice in there, just push that rice out of that opening. We need enough room here so that the foot can run along the edge. If we do a very little seam allowance, we can't get that foot close enough to the edge, and we will have greater chances of running over that rice. So leave yourself a good amount. Weaving those pins in and out right up close to that rice really makes a difference versus pinning it and letting that rice be loose. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to finish stitching that closed. Once that's closed, now we can take out those pins. And that was 1/3 cup. This one was 1/2 cup. So you can see there's a little bit of a difference. But even with that 1/2 cup, I was able to pin that right close to that rice. I want that rice really tight. We don't have to leave these squares at 5 inches. We can have some fun with them and put them into different shapes. For a heart, I just put my 2 sides so that the right sides are out. I fold it in half and I pin those layers together. Then I'll take a pair of pinking shears and just cut a heart shape. By having those 4 layers together, it means they're all going to be the same size. And I'm not really too concerned on what my heart looks like. Open it up, replace those pins. Now I can stitch around and leave a little opening. Once you've cut these little squares into hearts, they take a little bit less rice. They take 1/4 cup of rice. But that's still a really good size. Another size that is really nice with these little 5-inch squares will be just to fold them in half. So I'm going to stitch, come up, leave that little opening so that the rice can go in, and then seal that off. This little size will also fit a 1/4 cup. So it's a nice size once it's warmed up to fit inside a pair of mittens. And if we warm these up, put them in the bottom of our boots, it's going to warm up our boots before we put them on. So warm up the boots, take this out, and then your boots are good and warm to travel out in the snow. You can also keep them cold or make them hot and put them in your lunches. It's going to help keep those lunches cold, or if you need, keep them hot. Having those edges already pinked for us means they're not going to fray. Now we can trim them down to other shapes like hearts, but if we don't have pinky shears, we can leave them in those 5-inch squares or fold them in half so we have that great little size that'll fit in our hands. Regardless on the size and the shape that we make, we can keep them in the freezer, and when we need them cold, they'll be available. We can also warm them up in the microwave. Now, a warning about heating these in the microwave. Yes, it is rice, so we can put it in the microwave, but if we put them in the microwave too long, we are going to cook that rice, burn that rice, and that hot rice can actually burn the fabric. We only want to heat these till a comfortable temperature. We don't need to cook them. I find 30 seconds is all I need, so keep that in mind when you're heating up your little rice bags. And thank you for joining me today on Pre-Cut Fun. Feel free to subscribe and come on back and let's see what we're sewing next time in the sewing room. You can check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and I do have a newsletter, all under Sew Very Easy. I'll put a link in the description. Bye for now.